This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Jeremy Wolf.
Well, hello, friends, family, wonderful community. We are back with another episode, another installment of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Your host, Jeremy Wolf, as always, welcoming you to the show. Today, I would like to welcome the man who put Price in the Price group. I'm here with David Price. David, how are you today?
I'm great, man. How you doing?
David, I am living the dream, as always. And if I wasn't, I would just say I am, because, you know, I'm a positive, happy spirit. Okay, so, David, let's start off with basics. Tell me a little bit about the Price group. What do you guys do?
We're an independent marketing organization. And for most people that don't know what that means, I'm basically the person between the insurance agent and the insurance carrier. So in short, what does that mean? We help people that are interested in selling insurance, typically from home, and we get them the training they need. We plug them into lead systems. We get them contract with the insurance carriers like Transamerica, American General, Mutual of Omaha, and teach them how to sell insurance. Teach them how to sell insurance from home so they can work for themselves, create a great income, and have freedom.
Right on, man. So insurance is a rather broad category. What are you primarily focusing on? What's your niche within the insurance business?
Yeah, so we do life insurance, but particularly we do all types of life insurance, but our real niche is final expense. And the reason I like final expense is over 10,000 people turn 65 every single day. So it's a growing market. It's been growing since I got in it since 2018. And it's going to be growing probably right up until I retire, or a little bit after I retire. So it's a great market. Interest rates don't affect it. I know like mortgage protection is another niche that people focus on, but when there's less mortgages, there's less people looking to protect mortgages. COVID didn't affect us. We were able to just go from working out in the field to doing it on the phone. So I just think it's a bulletproof industry. It's a short 45-minute phone call, one call close, and it's really, really easy to teach. You know, most of our top agents were just housewives, servers. None of them had, very few people actually had sales experience. So that's why it's just real simple. I mean, really, it's like when you go to a doctor's office and you have to do that new intake form. Mm-hmm. It's almost the same thing as what an insurance application would look like. So you're just really helping the client go through that and just finding them the best rate using a quoter tool that we have. So it's just simple, easy, and gives you lots of freedom, which is really the goal. You know, I'm not so worried about the widget, right? Is what gives me the freedom that I really wanted to have, and helps me show the people the same.
Yeah, we like it nice and simple and easy. And I think it's nice that you're bringing in a lot of people that don't really have formal sales training, if you will, because a lot of times people get caught with some bad teachings and bad habits and come in with a clean slate. It's kind of easier to mold them and help them more effectively. Sometimes, not always.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I enjoy that. And there's another reason I enjoy it. It's like when you take somebody who's, used to making $15, $20 an hour or less, and you show them, where they can make $1,000 in a day from selling one policy, and they like really click and get consistent with that. And they go from making 30, 40 grand a year to, over $100,000 a year. And everything changes in their life. Like their children go to better schools, they get more help at home, the car, like all those things, donate more to the church. And to me, that's what's super rewarding. If you take someone who's already making a bunch of money and you show them how to make money easier, to me, okay, that's cool. But I really like helping people that just didn't know it was possible, removing that limiting belief that okay, this is it. I'm just be a server for the rest of my life and I make 40 grand a year. And I got to work every weekend and every night, and I got to miss all the dance recitals and all that, because that's just what I was born into. I like to fix that.
I love that, brother. Like helping people with these limiting beliefs, right? I truly believe that every human being, for the most part, has within them the potential for greatness. And so many of us live our lives without tapping into that potential for whatever reason, right? fear, just obstacles, blaming things on externalities, and really just not taking ownership. And it's great that you're working with people to empower them to be a better version of themselves. And I really like how you're niched down. There's so many insurance agents out there that really try to be a one-stop shop, and they try to offer everything, which is nice. But the fact that you're really honed in specifically on life and then final expense, that gives you the ability to, again, work with others and help them grow in a better way, I'd say.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I had someone reach out to me today saying, they're looking to add different products. I was like, what happened with final expense? Did you run out of clients to help? And like, yeah, I think so. I was like, man, that's crazy talk. I was like, 10,000 people turn 65 every day. I don't think you're looking in the right places, man. I was just at a Tony Robbins conference. I went to Unleash the Power Within, and he's like, if things aren't working for you and they're working for the other guy, they're just doing something different than you. Stop looking for anything else than that.
Yep. 100%, man. So let's look through your professional journey here. How did you, most people I'd imagine aren't, when they're growing up and they're kids, they're not thinking like, hey, I'm going to get into insurance. Like maybe you're different. Maybe you're the one that when the kids were out playing Cowboys and Indians, you were looking for ways to underwrite policies to protect them in case of some liability. Talk a little bit about your professional journey, how you got into insurance, and then how you grew the agency to a model where you can empower and help others.
Yeah. And no, I wasn't the guy, I didn't have like a pen protector in my top breast pocket, in school, pretending to be an insurance agent. But saying that and like listening to you say it, and probably everyone that's here that is in insurance, I think the first thing is like, everyone thinks insurance is like this old guy walking door to door with a briefcase and a bunch of papers, all dressed up, and insurance isn't like that. It's funny. We have like a virtual call center. We have dance parties on Zoom. We have meetings where, we're literally just calling people or receiving calls of people looking for insurance, and we're helping them. Right. So it's like, do you like working on the phone? Do you like helping people? You're already doing 80% of what we do. And as far as the underwriting, the insurance carrier has their underwriters, right? So we just filling out the application. We just filling out the application, name, date of birth, right? What medications they're on, any kind of health issues and stuff, really, really simple stuff. But I knew insurance was a good business to be in. I remember I didn't grow up with a lot of means. And I remember one of my friends in the neighborhood everyone in the neighborhood had more than us really, but I remember that their father was an insurance agent. And I remember one of my mom's friends did something with insurance, and they both said like the same thing. They said, insurance is really cool. You can do it for a while and then live pretty good on the passive income and just play golf a lot. The one person said, or you could really continue to work and make a real lot of money. And I remember hearing that when I was a teenager, and that like stuck in my head. I'm like, man, that sounds like a good career path. Meanwhile, my mom was a server, and we were on welfare and the food stamps and all that stuff. Child support. She didn't receive child support. She should have. But so I was like, man, that sounds really cool. But for me, same thing, right? I thought like insurance was this complicated thing. You had to do underwriting. I thought you needed a 4-year degree and you needed all these things. And I never had any of that. And then I figured, once you have the degree, you got to know somebody, because, when you apply for jobs, no one ever contacts you. Like a lot of limiting beliefs going through. And I was in my mid-30s, and I just came to this realization. I was like, man, I haven't really done anything in my life that was going to help me be on the path to live the life I wanted to, that I dreamed of when I was a teenager, right? When I was a teenager, like I wanted to live this life of freedom. I wanted to travel, drive exotic cars, like live in nice houses, like eat at nice restaurants. Like I wanted to live, really, really well. And, I did some things where made some money, but it didn't have the freedom, or just didn't, have the kind of money that I was really, I think when we were teenagers, we were super optimistic about life. So in my mid-30s, I was like, dude, if I'm going to do it, like, this is it. This is my chance right now to figure that out. And so I started looking for a different business opportunity, basically, that let me do what I want, where I want, with who I want. Those are the three things that this thing had to do. And if it was going to have me stuck in a geographic location, that was out, right? It had to give me total freedom. And, understanding I'm starting from the beginning, it's not going to give me that freedom in the beginning, but like the path will lead to freedom, where everything else I did, the path didn't actually lead to freedom. It might've been a good job or maybe get a bonus or but pay raises, but it didn't lead to freedom. And I started talking to everyone I knew that had success in their life or more success than me. And everyone that, had businesses and stuff like that. And somebody led me towards insurance. He didn't even sell insurance. He's like, man, one of the guys went to high school with, they actually they're doing really, really well with insurance. You should talk to them. And when I talked to them, I found all you need was a 20-hour course, get your license, a day of training, and you could sell insurance and do it from anywhere in the world, really, once you have your license, and as little as much as you want. And they have renewals and passive income and every other thing I was looking for. I was like, man, this, again, insurance wasn't the widget that I was excited about, but the freedom that you could have because of it, I was extremely excited about. So I decided to go all in on selling insurance in 2018.
Good stuff. Yeah, I do a podcast with a client of mine. He's a business broker. And we talked about when people are looking to start businesses, there's different factors to consider. Sometimes people go into business doing something that they love to do, but then through the business, they burn out and they grow to not love it because there's so many different so many different factors that go into business rather than just the thing that you love. So, lifestyle is a huge one, right? What are you trying to get out of it? And a lot of times you could start doing something that might not be so attractive like insurance, but it affords you the things that you want, and you're able to kind of realize that through it and learn to love the actual thing that you're doing. So I think that's great. And I think you dropped another piece of wonderful wisdom for folks out there about surrounding yourself with people that are in a place that you aspire to be at and trying to associate with them, and then basically model your habits after them, and then you'll get to where you want to go quicker. That's good stuff, man.
Absolutely, man. So the funny thing is, at that time, I'm still into working out. By that time, I was really, really into working out and being in shape. And the buddy who sent me to someone selling insurance, he actually just started a gym. First, he started really just training people in his apartment complex gym. And then he quickly moved into a 5,000 square foot facility. So I'm like, man, this guy's having a ton of success. He's got a system he's following. He's got a marketing system. So I was like, will you coach me? If I buy a gym, will you coach me? So I was between insurance.
It's not Alex Hormozi, is it?
It wasn't Alex Hormozi, but he was using his gym launch system, right? And I was like, man, so I was asking if he would coach me on the gym, and this was 2018, right? And then COVID happened in 2020, and I'm like, I just look at that now and I'm like, how would an insurance agency and a gym even compete, right? How many gym owners do you not know that are rich, right? Not very many. How many insurance people do you know that are rich, right? It's insurance has created probably more millionaires than anyone. Maybe real estate. I think insurance has real estate beat. So it's they don't even compare. And then COVID happened. I probably would have been out of business. And then just like you said, my passion would have been my nightmare, right? My passion would have turned into my nightmare. And I tell people that because I get people telling me the same thing all the time. Well, I like working out. I was like, good, keep working out, but find a job that'll give you freedom, that'll let you work out as much as you want without having to worry about bills versus going to start a gym.
It's definitely a balancing act with everything that we do.
Yes. I'm still working on that one.
Yeah. So through the years, we all experience challenging moments. Looking back through your journey, is there something that comes to mind, a particular challenge that helped shape you to where you're at today in terms of the business as a business owner? Yeah.
So, I was born to two 18-year-old drug addicted, married parents, that were struggling with all kinds of things. I lived in probably over 20 places by the time I was in high school, in homeless shelter. I mean, you name it. I went through a bunch of stuff. And then I ended up having a drug addiction of myself that I battled with for about 20 years of my life. So, how does that shape me with my business? And the reason you're able to use drugs for 20 years is because your ego makes you believe that you have everything under control. And in my head, I had everything under control, and everyone around me thought I had everything under control too. I just like to use drugs instead of coming home and having a beer. I like to come home and get high from work. Yep. And just like it happens to everyone, eventually the drugs win. And I found myself, in a really, really bad place. And I was like, man, I need to make a change. And I thought the change was stopping the particular substance that I was using, where I could still drink and do other things. But something led me to a 12-step meeting in 2013. And I'm in this meeting, and in my head, I'm in here as a supporter because I actually was bringing someone else there because I thought they needed help. And I sat in that meeting. I just started crying. I didn't know why. I just started crying. And I decided to start following the suggestions that they had. And that's where I learned to be like coachable, ask for help, model what works, like all these basic principles, right? Help me with drugs. And then once I was like, man, this stuff did really good. I had my last drink or drug in 2013. So I've been clean since. I went to that first meeting, which I took a taxi to. I was living on my grandma's pull-out couch, took a taxi there because I didn't own a car, and I had 2 bags of clothes to my name and plenty of a debt and negative net worth. So just to think that was, 12 years ago. And, just a lot of those basic principles and everything I went through. And, my thought was, man, it sucks that I was like born to like broke parents and didn't have like any head starts in life and no one I could go for money or help ever. And I always thought that like that happened to me. And now I know like all that stuff I went through prepared me for what I'm doing right now. And, now I'm, my life's completely different. I don't owe anyone any money. Building a house cash right now in Florida, own another house outright. I have a small mortgage, I guess, on a different house because the interest rate's like 2.75. So just 12 years later, just following some simple principles, man, and taking one step in front of the other and just trying to beat myself and be better every single day has just really, really have compound effects over time. You don't notice it. Like I was talking to one of my agents just yesterday, and they're like, they get so caught up with like their production this week versus last week. I'm like, stop with this week to week BS. Like look at where you were last year at this time. Like you're crushing it, you're killing it. But people, even my scale, it says what does it say? Well-being over numbers or something like that. When I step off the scale, right? It's like don't worry about that daily number on that scale. Where was it last month? And then if you're not having the results that you want, like why? A lot of times when people aren't happy about the results that they're having, they're not doing the things they know they should be doing. It's not hard, and then I would say if we just teach people how to do the things that they say they're going to do, people would be having a lot more success.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that story. That resonates with me a lot. I've had my own struggles through the years with drugs, and it's a heavy toll, but I also have gotten to a point, and I found that the older I get, the more I realize that where we're at is defined in many ways by how we frame things. So like when I'm encountering a difficult situation right now and I'm lost in thought, I try to bring myself back to center and remind myself that I'm right where I'm supposed to be, right? I'm here because of everything that's happened to me and all these challenging experiences that I've had. And all these things that have gone on in my life have brought me right to where I am. And the older I get, the more grateful I am to be in this spot. And people are so often trying to escape all of the suffering, all of the hardship, and all of these things. And that's part of the journey. There's no escaping it. Again, it's a framing issue, right? It's like, do I want to suffer involuntarily, or do I want to suffer intentionally? And there's a big difference there. And so many people get caught up and get lost in thought and find themselves ruminating. And that's where depression comes in. And the more work I put in, the more I go on my personal and spiritual journey through life, the more I come back to gratitude and just being good with where I'm at. And that mindset helps you push forward. It really does. Still with me?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were going for another question. I was getting ready for you, but yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable what once you could really control the mind and understand yourself and look internal for solutions. How much things change, and I think about like it's so easy to look back, right? Like I said, my life's completely different. I honestly feel like I got to live multiple lives, and it's so easy to like look back afterwards and like, cool, why am I in the spot that I'm at now? Like, why am I having successes? Why do I have a second chance at life? Like, what am I doing right? And I just look at, just basic things. I try to give more than I receive now, where back then I was trying to take more than I gave, right? And I thought that was what you're supposed to do, like get the leverage on everything. I try to, when things aren't going right, I look internal versus, man, this sucks, my boss sucks, my job sucks, this car sucks, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, all right, well, what's going on? So, anything in my life that is not what I want it to be, it's my fault, right? It's 100% my fault. I need to come up with a solution, and that's good news when you realize it's your fault, because with somebody else's fault,
you have no control.
You can't control it. You're screwed.
The victimhood mentality, right? Placing blame on external. You can't control the externalities. The only thing you can control, I tell this to my kids all the time, the only thing you control is yourself and your reaction to these things. And when you learn how to master that, then all of a sudden you start attracting positive things. It's a simple equation. Easier said than done, but it's not that hard. Like you said, it's really not. It's just about building consistent habits daily and just reprogramming your mind for success. Simple.
Absolutely.
Oh, good stuff, man. I want to take this back, though. I feel like I glossed over a big component of the podcast when we were talking about the business. You were talking about how your mission now is empowering agents, but you also have your own insurance. You also help consumers out there, right?
Yeah. We help. I think we helped like 1,300 policies last month. So 1,300 consumers got insurance last month because of us. So yeah, I mean, we're helping at scale. I manage a bunch of virtual insurance agencies throughout the country. So typically, someone decides they want to sell insurance. I teach them how to sell insurance, how to help consumers, with their insurance, plug them into a lead program. So, we have about 7,000 inquiries of people looking for insurance a month right now, and that number's going up. So it's just a matter of plugging people into that. So that way they're either, calling the people back, or they're taking an inbound call, helping them with their insurance needs. So last month was a record, $1.3 million in production we did. And this month we're on pace to break that. So I started a new company in October 4th. And we did $10 million in production in our first 350 days. So super, super excited about that. But, it's the people. We got a lot of really good people that just like helping people. And it's winning combination when you're trying to sell something is have people that actually care about the people they're trying to sell it to. Absolutely.
Now, where I know with insurance, you get licensed in your resident state, and then you get a reciprocal non-resident license for states that you want to operate in. Which states do you operate in? You're not in all of them.
All of them. Yeah, all of them.
And then I'd imagine you have tons of relationships with carriers, with insurance companies. And then when you take an agent on to work with you, you then can plug them in and find the best carriers for them to market their products.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, the insurance carriers, they want to work with us because of our field force or agent force, not field. We do it on the phone from home. And then, so we just basically get them contract with the carrier, act like a middleman, get them all the training they need, plug them into whatever that tools that they need, and then give them a mentor to teach them about the underwriting and everything with that. And we start with about 5 carriers at first, because it gives you a good mix to cover most of the health conditions without you having to learn too much. And then from there, we just constantly keep on giving you new tools. We're about to launch a annuity division and a Medicare division for 2026. So we're just going to keep growing as a business and keep finding more ways to help the consumers and help agents be more profitable and have more freedom.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the model, right? As somebody, coming out into the insurance field, you just got your license as an alternative to going to work for somebody at their agency to learn the ropes, or going out on your own and trying to figure it out on your own. You can come over to the Price Group, and you guys, again, you hold their hand, walk them through the process, and really get them set up and on the right direction to build their own agency. Love it, man.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with that is everyone owns their own book of business. So they're all independent. They own their own book of business. They own the renewals, they own everything. So they're really business owners, where if you go to, another company and they're paying you like hourly or something like that, like you're just an employee. You got your insurance license to be an employee again. You own nothing. The minute they fire you, you're back at ground zero. So that's the goal, is, empower people to grow their own business.
Now, do you typically, in terms of how you guys get compensated for helping agents, are you getting like a very small residual on policies, or do they pay you independently of that? Or how does that typically work for you guys?
Yeah, so the carrier pays the agents directly. So the carriers are paying them directly, and then they're paying us an override for managing and taking on the risk, because insurance is the money's advanced money. So it's typically loans that are given out. So that's really the main point of the IMO is we take the risk. So the insurance carrier is not willing to take the risk on somebody without a track record.
All right, makes sense. Okay, shifting gears. I feel like we covered that. I missed that going in. So I want to pull this over to family, right? So family is everything. I got a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old daughter, 10-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter. And I must say, going back to this whole mindset discussion and dealing with your life challenges, I am not happy with the way I left off this morning when I got them off to school. I did not show up well this morning, but it reminded me, right? For a little while, I thought, I was a little down on myself. I was a little upset with how I handled the situation. But the more I reflected on it, again, I came back to gratitude. Like, I'm here now, and it's a lesson, right? I can't wait until they get home and I could sit down and have a conversation with them. It's just so important for me to be a positive role model for my kids. And sometimes I'm not that, and I'm human. What about your family? Do you have kids of your own, or tell us a little bit about your family?
Yeah. I'm in Puerto Rico basically by myself. I have a 23-year-old son. He's out in Minnesota. My mom's in Arizona. My father passed away. So insurance definitely give me a lot more freedom to travel. Been flying to Arizona for years now to, spend my mom's birthday's Christmas Eve. So I spend Christmas Eve and Christmas with my mom. And last year, took her and her husband on a trip for the week of Christmas. So definitely try to be more active in that. I wasn't a big family person. Not that I wasn't a big family person. We weren't a big family, growing up. Like I said, we dealt with some broken childhood stuff and some traumas. But, as, start working on myself and, as I'm going to back up for a second. So like when you don't grow up with money, and like money is always an issue, it's like a lot of your decisions, a lot of things you do is based off that, right? Because you need money to eat and survive and pay rent and bills and insurance and all those things. Right? Exactly. So it's cool. So like once that's fixed and like that's not a thing anymore, then it's like, all right, what do I work on now? What are the things that I want to fix? So one is my health, right? I definitely spend a lot of time and do a lot of things, for my health. And then my family, right? So trying to, do a better job of being a better son, a better father, and try to spend time with people the best I can living in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. We were just talking about it before the show. I got a good friend of mine that just went down. His fiance is from Puerto Rico. The grandmother still lives down there, and they bought a 7-acre piece of land. I think it's 7 acres somewhere in the jungle. They're going to build a retreat center, really kind of unplug from the society that we're all, the grind, if you will, right? Like the older I get, man, the more I just want to disconnect. I mean, we're so stuck with electronics and it's just, I just want peace and quiet the older I get. I don't want to be away from everybody, but I just want peace and quiet. That's all. I'm a simple man.
Absolutely. I'm on Zillow all the time looking for like a mountain home somewhere in the Smokies, or like a second home somewhere out in the country for sure.
Yeah. He said he's gonna put one of those container homes on the property. I said, you know what? I'm gonna get one too. If you give me a spot over there, and I'll come down there. Not full time, just part time. Come down and visit and hang out. It's gonna be fun, man.
What would he pay for 7 acres?
I I'm not sure. I'm not sure the price tag exactly. I know it was like 100 low hundred somethings. I
Really?
want to say, but I'm not 100% sure. So I don't.
Can't beat that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny going back to this idea of mindset and having an abundance mindset and not focused on scarcity. I watched my buddy Brian kind of transform his life. He also had some serious hardships, drug problems. He was suicidal. He had some autoimmune disorders, and he got into this whole holistic healing, plant medicine, shamanism. And I've been watching him transform his life. And then he started talking about moving from Orlando recently. And I listened to how he framed this. And there was part of my mind, this negative thought process that I still have in my mind when he's telling me. I'm like, well, what if it doesn't work? I'm like questioning him, right? I'm like, I want to look out for my buddy. And none of that was coming through. He was just materializing or manifesting, if you will, in his mind. He's like, this is happening. Like, this is what I want to do. This is my plan. This is what makes me happy. This is how I can help the most people. Like, this is happening. And I watched as the pieces fell into place, and he went down there and he got the land. And I was like, fucking A, this stuff works, man. If you just frame things differently, you attract what you want in your life. So I'm so proud of him, so excited for him. And that's kind of my journey is kind of shifting in that direction too, to try to help other people. And I want to get involved with these retreats. I found so much usefulness in this journey I've been on. And I feel like I was watching him from the sideline and like doing personal work on myself, but I wasn't really helping other people around me. And I said, I need to now take what I've learned and take what's worked for me and try to share that with others and grow a community of my own. I recently started a men's group locally here, and that's really the path that I'm focused on right now. It's good stuff, man. I like it.
It's awesome.
So where are we? You mentioned you like to work out. Is that really what keeps you grounded outside of work, or what do you like to do to kind of keep yourself grounded for fun?
Yeah, the work starts becoming fun. I think about like video games. When I was younger, I used to play video games a lot, and it's like so addicted to it. You're just like you want to like unlock that next level. Like what happens when I get here or there, or if I'm power level 44, what happens, right? And that's how I feel, right? It's just, we've been having records and growing exponentially, from day one, and, just having a lot of fun with it. We go on trips. I think got a meeting either today or tomorrow, planning a ski trip for some of my top agents. That's what the meeting is about. We're going to figure that out. One of the insurance carriers that we do a lot of business with wants to, spoil me and some of our top agents. So we're having a meeting with that. So hopefully somewhere in the West is where I want it to be.
Little Park
West
City action.
Yeah, somewhere over there. I think the one executive at the carrier, I think he lives out that way. So just always, always trying to have fun with it, right? Make it something that is enjoyable. But if I'm doing something that's not work related, I like going to the gym. I like mountain biking. I like anything, I've been Jeeping here in Puerto Rico, which was really cool. Rented a Jeep with a guide, which that was cool. Yeah, man, it was super cool because it was like, it was a paid trip, but it was like, yes, crossing a stream and like just doing a cool bunch of stuff that you thought you wouldn't do, in one of those little paid Jeep trips. So a lot of adventure, a lot of fun here. I had, it's just nice to be outside sometimes. I took a nice little walk yesterday when I was done working, and the air and the wind and everything was just like perfect. And I was just like, man, that's what moved out here. I visited a friend of mine, and it was just so nice. And I was just like, all right, I'm moving out here. So
weather,
yeah.
It's not like brutally hot down there. Like the weather's similar to South Florida, I guess.
No, I mean it definitely gets hot, but like last night probably because you get a real strong breeze most of the time, and then there was no sun, so it was nice. It was beautiful. It was probably like 70. I mean, I don't know what the temperature was, but it probably felt like 70-ish with like a nice strong wind and no sun. So it was like perfect.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little cooler down here in South Florida. We have like a 3-4 month window where the temperature gets comfortable and then it goes back to being hot again, which I've come accustomed to at this point. I'd much rather it be hot than super cold all the time.
Yeah, so it's funny because I moved here from Florida, and I was going back and forth quite a bit. And I was like, you know what? I think it's cooler in Puerto Rico than Florida.
Oh, shit.
And it's only because of the wind. Like you just typically always have a really strong breeze. So the temperature might feel the same, but if you're in the shade and you have that wind hitting you, then it feels cooler. Where like Florida, it doesn't have as much breeze. But they're both great places to live. I mean, I love living in Florida too. I was just looking for a change, and thought living on an island sounded like a good change to me.
Yeah, because I'm not familiar with Puerto Rico at all, other than the fact that my friend just went down there and bought the land. But like, I know nothing about it. I think San Juan is the capital, right? Is that the?
Yeah, San Juan's the capital. That's where I live.
More than I.
You know everything. You know everything. There's a know.
So yeah, and I'm trying to. I wonder how far away you are from. I definitely got to connect you with him when we're done here. It could be interesting.
Yeah, I'm super curious because I do go on Zillow and Facebook Marketplace, and I see land for sale all the time. And I was like, man, I wonder what it would take to build a place here. So, but I like that container idea. But still, like, what's it cost to get a container there? You know, I wonder.
No, I think he mentioned like a 2-bedroom container home where they just plop it down on the property and you plug it in. Basically, it was like $30,000. So. Not bad.
Sounds really good. I feel like I would see a lot more container homes, but I guess it's because I'm not walking around in the jungle out in the middle of the island. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, man. So I went at one of the retreats I was at recently. A buddy of mine did this visualization exercise, and basically at the end of the exercise asked a question of us, or kind of framed it in a way that alluded to this question. I want to ask it to you, and it's, if you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
Yeah, so that's a really simple question to answer for me, and it would be, you know, if you're doing something, just do it to 100% of your ability, all the time, no matter what, right? Yes. And like, to really like explain that, you know, I didn't take school real serious, and you know, now I'm 45 years old, and you know, you start looking at time, and you start looking at, you know, being real intentional about how you spend it, who you spend it with, and what you're doing. So if I was locked up in a building, right, school, for 8 hours a day, and you literally like just waited for the time to end until it was time to go home, and you didn't like do anything productive in that time,
it's torture.
Like, it makes zero sense, right? It makes no sense at all. So, you know, while I was there, I might as well took the time to, you know, read and do the lessons and learn as much as I can, and learn how to connect with people and learn how to build relationships and stuff, instead of just like trying to avoid people and wait for the day to end and go home. You know, so that's just a really, really good example, because, you know, I mean, I'm not even going to sit there and try to do the math on how many hours we spend in school before, you know, by the time we're out of high school, but it's ridiculous. And majority, I mean, I would say, you know, over 60-70% of that, I was probably just coasting by and sliding by and not taking it real serious. And, you know, now I'm trying to learn as much as I can, you know, audiobooks, reading books, taking courses, classes, you know, mentorships, masterminds. Like, I'm paying all this money to do all these things, when it's like, man, that, like, you know, what would happen if I started when I was younger, on gaining information and being real intentional with how I spend my time and not wasting time. And then, you know, as I say, I think about too, like, you know, in high school, when you just like go hang out with your friends, you know, and then you look at, like, I'm listening to, you know, biography, I'm listening to Steve Jobs biography right now, and, you know, or like even like Warren Buffett, and like, dude, when Warren Buffett was teenagers, he's like buying stocks, right? You know, he's buying stocks. He bought a pinball machine and like put it somewhere, and it's just like, man, you know, I was hanging out, sitting on my friend's couch watching TV, like, you know, so it's just looking at that stuff, and there's nothing wrong with sitting on a couch and watching TV with your friend, obviously, but like, if that's what you do a majority of your time, you know, I always say, listen, you can do whatever you want with your time, just don't do whatever you want with your time and complain about your life. You can't do both. Yeah. Right. You could work your butt off and try to like be super successful, then come complain to me, and like we would figure out how to tweak it and make it better. But like, don't waste all your time and then complain, because you already know what the problem is. So yes, you know, that's a long drawn out answer, and I just wanted to really hit that one, because at the end of the day, it's like, all right, well, I didn't do those things for, you know, majority of my life, but like, the majority of the rest of my life, I am going to be very intentional with my time. And I believe like it's going to make my next 10, 20, 30 years a lot easier and a lot better on this planet.
Absolutely. I also am 45, and a lot of what you said just now resonates with me deeply. It's funny how we get older and our perspective shifts on time and our intention. And I thought what you said about with whatever you're doing, give it 100% all the time. That's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Like, doesn't matter what it is that I'm doing. I noticed so many times I'll like washing the dishes or whatever it is, putting my son to sleep, just things that I was doing. I found like a voice in my head pulling me away from that because it wants to go do the thing that I want to do, right? I play the guitar. I want to go play the guitar. And I find myself being pulled away from the thing. And I remind myself all the time, it's like, no, I'm doing this thing right now. This is what I'm doing. And I am going to give it 100% of my effort. I'm going to focus on this thing right now because I'm doing it anyway. Why do I want to do it rushed and do a half-assed job and be miserable while I'm going through the process? Since I'm doing it anyway, I might as well enjoy it and